What's going on, everyone? So, if the Lakers look to shop Austin Reaves, there are several approaches in which I think personally that the Lakers should look for, right? You need either obviously a tier guy, right? If you can work out some type of trade, some type of deal where Austin Reaves is getting you, a clear upgrade, not even necessarily a star, but like a top tier guy, a guy you're like, okay, that guy, he makes sense, right? Problem with Austin Reaves is his contract. Only making a little over $13 million next season. So you're not going to, you can't trade him for like a Giannis or something like that, right? Like you're kind of limited. Like you'd have to, any sizable trade or any sizable salary or something, you'd have to essentially add something to Reaves in order to get it. So I think one, you get a tier guy, or two, I've talked about getting a better complementary or complementary pieces, right? So get a guy or multiple guys, right? I would love to see, Austin Reaves for like a Suggs or something like that, right? Like, yes, Austin Reaves might be better, but Suggs is a guy that gives you the legit 3-point shooting as well as defense, or like a Dyson Daniels or, a Herb Jones or something like that. I would love to see something along those lines if you could pull that off. Outside of that, I don't hate the idea of calling up the Houston Rockets, right? Houston has a ton of young, athletic perimeter wings, right? And they are going to have to make some tough decisions. Now, Houston is likely going to be in play for Kevin Durant, Giannis, right? So we'll have to see what happens when the dust settles. But they need guys that can self-create and score the basketball. Austin Reaves can do that. Austin Reaves can score the basketball, he can self-create, and he can create a little bit for others, right? So Austin Reaves makes a lot of sense for Houston. And like I said, they have a bunch, several just young, athletic, versatile guys, right? So can you turn Austin Reaves into three of those guys, right? Now, you're probably not getting a Tari Eason or anything like that because they're just so high on him. You're not getting an Amen Thompson or anything like that, right? But could you get, say, something along the lines of a Cam Whitmore? Could you maybe get a Jabari Smith in the deal, right? 6'10", shooter, athlete, Wayne, right? Could you get something like that? And then, maybe a Reed Shepherd. I don't know how high they value Reed Shepherd. Where does he ever even see the basketball court? Especially if they were to get an Austin Reaves, or they ever get that. But even if you don't get him, right? There are, again, several guys that you could look at and go, hey, they make sense. Young, athletic, versatile guys. Get some youth, get some athleticism, get some guys that, yes, what's Houston's biggest problem? Is scoring the basketball and creation. Well, you have Luka and you have LeBron. You don't need that. You need guys like Houston has that can give you those athletes, that can give you those versatility guys, that can give you the guys that can just put the ball in the hoop from 3-point range, but also defend multiple positions, play multiple positions, so on and so forth. So to me, I look at Houston's roster and it's okay, Steven Adams is a free agent. You could go and sign him. Right? So go sign a Steven Adams in a backup role. But then beyond that, again, I don't think you'd get a Tari Eason. Right? Okay, fine. What about, like I said, can you get a Jabari Smith who's making right now $9 million, let's call it almost $10 million, and then a Cam Whitmore's making $3.3 million. Boom, there's Austin Reaves' salary. Right? So could you get, like I said, a Cam Whitmore versatile two-way wing, get a Jabari Smith Jr., legit 3-and-D style, he's 21 years old, power forward, small forward, right? Because again, at some point they're going to have to make decisions on these guys regardless, right? And it's okay, Cam Whitmore basically is getting no opportunity on Houston. He's hardly seen in the court unless somebody's hurt or out or anything like that. Jabari Smith Jr., right? Amen Thompson has become this star in the making. And they also have, Tari Eason, who is becoming one of the best, two-way 3-and-D guys in the league. So Jabari Smith Jr. is probably just going to be on the bench coming off the bench. How long is he going to want to stay on the bench? How long is he going to want to be a 6th, 7th guy, right? Where on a team like the Lakers, he makes a ton of sense. You can slot him. He could be our Michael Porter Jr. type, right? Slot him in at the 3, right? He makes a ton of sense alongside LeBron and Luka Doncic, right? So to me, I look at it and I go, okay, what are the kind of things you need for this season, right? Centers, okay. Can you go and trade Dalton Connect in a first for Mark Williams or a pick swap or whatever, right? Go get a Mark Williams, right? And then go get a legit two-way guy, right? Or get multiple young guys that come and be foundations for now and the future alongside Luka, right? Like you could, if you wanted to, you could go Luka, Cam Whitmore, Jabari Smith, LeBron James, and then like a Mark Williams or something, right? Like perfect. You got the two youthful athletic guys that can defend multiple positions, shoot the three ball. Cam Whitmore can create a little bit for himself, beat guys off the dribble, take guys off the dribble, right? You look at, Luka Doncic, he can create and do all those things, right? Both of those guys are still going to be cheap for a while. And then you look at, and they'd probably be good trade pieces at some point, especially if they really actually like become something, right? So you'd have two great trade pieces. And then you got LeBron and then you got your center, right? Sign a Steven Adams and become the Los Angeles Rockets, right? Like, but in all seriousness, like I don't hate that idea. Like I think Houston is definitely something that the Lakers should look at and consider and kind of, make an argument for via trade. Like, can you convince Houston, right? Like, hey, like say they miss out, like let's say Giannis stays in Milwaukee, right? They could still go trade for Kevin Durant, right? But what if they miss out on Kevin Durant? Well, there's not really many options left for them. Like, who are they going to get that could provide the scoring that they need, right? Like, obviously, Austin Reaves isn't Kevin Durant or Giannis, but it's like, not a bad consolation prize, and he's cheap, and he's going to need a new contract, right? So give us 2 or 3 young guys, 2 or 3 versatile athletes, because the Lakers desperately need athleticism. They desperately need athletes. Get 2 or 3 athletes. You get a guy in Austin Reaves, right? Who can be a scoring option for you, who can, be some level of consistency. Hopefully you have the defense and athletes to mask Austin Reaves, right? Like that's the thing. It's like, okay, well, with Austin Reaves, it's like, okay, well, for us, the Lakers, it's like, well, we have Luka. Like you can't pair those two, but you'd have Fred VanVleet, Tari Eason, right? You'd have Amen Thompson, Alperen Şengün. You'd have several other guys still, Tate and all these other guys on the bench that could be quality pieces for them, right? Like they have the defense, the athleticism, and the versatility to put around a guy like an Austin Reaves, where the Lakers just don't. So to me, I look at it as like, okay, like Austin Reaves makes a ton of sense for a team like Houston, and Houston has 3 or 4 guys that make a ton of sense for the Lakers. It's a win-win exchange. And it's not like Austin Reaves is 36, right? Like Austin Reaves is still young enough to where he kind of fits their core and foundation. He can be a playmaker, right? He can be a scorer for them. He can do things out there on the basketball court, right? And I look at that and go like, okay, like maybe there is a happy medium. I know Rocket fans are going to act like, oh, these guys, like stop. Jabari Smith Jr. is probably never going to be a starter on Houston and is, getting limited minutes in spots because again, they have 15 guys that do the same thing. Cam Whitmore, again, is a guy. Austin Reaves is a guy that Houston actually needs, would start, would play, would make sense, right? Like, yeah, Jalen Green has been a disaster for them, right? Jalen Green at moments, right? Look, I criticize Austin Reaves and talk about his inconsistencies and stuff. He's been more consistent than Jalen Green. Jalen Green is like, some nights you look at him and you're like, man, this guy is a superstar. Right? And then you watch other nights and you're like, this guy might be the worst player in the league, right? Like it's one or the other, right? There is no middle ground. Austin Reaves would at least give them a little more stability and they could look to trade Jalen Green, right? So they could go, which they were looking to trade Jalen Green in the offseason, right? So if they trade Jalen Green, you need somebody that can replace him. Austin Reaves makes a ton of sense to replace him. If I'm the Lakers, I personally wouldn't want Jalen Green. I mean, you can make the argument, but I'd rather get the versatile wings, right? I don't think Jalen Green's a guy that's going to get the opportunity alongside Luka and LeBron, right? To me, I'd rather give me the complementary pieces. Give me a guy like a Cam Whitmore that's, 6'7", 6'8", hyper athlete who, Lakers should have drafted a couple seasons ago, but hyper athlete that can knock down the 3 ball. Not great. He needs to work on his 3-point shot, but I trust that he'll get there. He's 20 years old, right? Give me the athletes that can defend multiple positions, that can knock down the open 3-point shot, that are young, that can be core foundation pieces for the next 10 years alongside Luka, right? That is a guy like a Jabari Smith Jr. That is a guy like a Cam Whitmore. Can you pull off something like that? Even if it's not necessarily that, I'm sure there's other teams. We can go down the list of some teams if you have other teams in mind or you want me to kind of make these videos on other teams, like a team like Detroit kind of has a couple guys that might make some sense, right? Like, but I look at Houston and they have an abundance of guys. They have a wealth of riches when it comes to what the Lakers need, right? So it's like, if you can kind of how can you convince a team like Houston that's competing with you to work on a deal with you? One, you either convince them that they won the trade, or B, it's a mutually beneficial thing. Like, you get exactly what you need, we get exactly what we need. And I think a trade like that gives the Lakers exactly what they need and gives a team like Houston exactly what they need. I think it's a win-win for everybody. I think now you're in great shape. So personally, if I was Lakers, that is something I would look at. Look at a Houston trade, see if you can pull, an Austin Reaves for, like I said, Jabari Smith Jr. and a Cam Whitmore, and then if you can get another piece or two, then fine. If you can get a Reed Shepherd because they're like, we're not going to use him, right? Like, then sure, but chances are you're probably not going to be able to do that. Or can you get a Jayshawn Tate, right? He's 29, 6'5", versatile wing that can defend multiple, perfect, right? Like, things like that. If you can pull something like that off, beautiful. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? If you have any thoughts, agree with me, disagree with me, kind of mixed in the middle. However you feel either way, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So if you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.